Okay, so today we're still going to focus on circles, and we are going to write down the steps of how to complete the square with circles. So we are going to be given form that looks something like this: ax squared plus by squared plus cx plus dy plus e equals 0. Lots of numbers there. A, B, C, D, E are all numbers. And then we're going to convert it into the standard form that we talked about yesterday. The x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. And the only way you can do that is by completing the square. Notice these guys right here. We're going to complete the square twice. So the first step that I want you to do every time is group the x's and the y's, and in that same, or then the second step, you're going to move the constant to the right side of the equation. The third step is the complete the square step. Don't forget the formula for that is b over 2 squared, and you're going to have to do that 2 times, complete the square twice here. And then the last step is we're going to factor and simplify. So this brings back a few memories of complete the square, and I think you're going to like it. All right, so here we go. First example. Grouping the x and y's together will look like this: x squared minus 14x. Now I'm already planning ahead for complete the square, so I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. And then plus y squared plus 4y plus something equals, the constant has to go to the other side, and we're going to add 2 different things to it, because what we add to one side we're going to have to add to the other. So that accomplishes the first 2 steps, grouping the x and y's and get the constant to the other side. All right, so the third step is to go ahead and complete the square. So negative 14 divided by 2 is negative 7, and if you square that you get 49. Okay, this one, 4 over 2 is 2, and if you square it you get 4. And since we're on opposite sides of the equation, I can go ahead and put plus 49. I do not need to change it to the opposite. This one is 4. It's balancing out the equation. All right, so let's move on. Factor and simplify. Last step. X minus 7 squared plus y plus 2 squared equals 11 plus 49 plus 4 gives you 64. So from that, we'll be able to tell that the center point is 7, negative 2, and the radius is 8. So you have just done your first complete the square for circles. Let's go on to the next one. Push pause if you think you got it, and then check your answer after that. Group your x's and y's together. So you have x squared plus 12, or minus 12x. Leave a little space, y squared minus 12y, and negative 27 I'm going to throw to the other side. Let me get the boxes in here so I can complete this square. And let's go with the first one. Negative 12 divided by 2 squared is negative 6 squared. So I'm going to put a 36 in here and 1 in the back. The next one, we have negative 8 over 2, and we're going to square that to get negative 4 squared. So that's going to give me a 16 for both the front and the back, or the left side and the right side. And let's go ahead and factor. So that would be x minus 6 squared plus y minus 4 squared equals, and after you add all of those together, you get 25. So the center point is 6, 4, and the radius is 5. Let's go on to number 3. Again, push pause. See if you can do this by yourself. If you're not comfortable yet, please stay with us. All right, let's group the x's together. Plus square, the y's together, plus square, equals 51. That's on the other side. And negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3 squared. So that's going to be 9 in here and in the back. And then here we have 4 over 2, which is 2 squared. And that's going to be 4 in the front and in the back, or left side and right side. All right, and let's go ahead and factor. So we have x minus 3 squared plus y plus 2 squared equals, when you add all that together, you get 64. Center point is at 3, negative 2, and the radius is 8. So check your work. And let's go on to another one. Okay, the next one is, again, grouping them together. So push pause if you're not ready yet. Of course, keep listening. Push pause if you think you got it. Go ahead and try it. So group them together, group them together. Go ahead and put 36 on the other side. And we have a couple boxes over here. Oops, I left too much space there. Okay, and then what we're going to put in the boxes will be from the b over 2 squared. So we have -5, so that's 25 with the 25 over here. And then -12 over 2 squared, -6, 36. Okay, what we have left after factoring, x minus 5 squared, y minus 6 squared equals 25. Center point at 5 and 6, and the radius is 5. So, good job. Let's do one more. Okay, this last one, again, push pause, see if you can get it. X squared, plus square, y squared, -4 is over there, little box, little square, little square. Okay, so what we're going to fill into those are -4 equals -2 squared, so a 4 is going to go here and in the back. -8 over 2 and squared, that's -4 squared, so that's 16. All right, for an answer of x minus 2 squared plus y minus 4 squared equals 16. So the center point must be 2, 4, and the radius has to be 4. All right, so let's look at this last little part here where we're trying to find the equation of a circle satisfying the given conditions. For number 6, we have the center point at 3, 4. So our variables would be h, k. And it contains 0.00. So what that means is this is x, y. And if you look at the graph, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, this point is going to lie on the circle. So if you did a radius all the way around, 0, 0 would land on the circle. So that's what it means by contains. So if we know that, and we know the formula, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, we'll be able to plug those bits of information into the equation. All right, so let's start. We've got 0 minus 3 squared, 0 minus 4 squared equals r squared. So let's solve for r. -3 squared is 9, -4 squared is 16, so r squared is 25. And they want the equation of the circle. So that's x minus 3 plus y minus 4, both squared, equals 25, because r squared belongs in the back here. All right, so good job on that one. Let's try the next one. So our first mission here is to find the equation of the circle. So if we have a -4 and 5, x plus 4 squared, and then y minus 5 squared equals 6 squared. So there's the first part. Then at the end, it's talking about these x and y intercepts. So how do we find x and y intercepts? Well, it applies, anything that we've done before applies also to the circle. So the x-intercept is going to be where you plug a 0 in for y. So let's see what happens. X plus 4 squared plus 0 minus 5 squared equals 36. And x plus 4 squared plus, so that's 25. And if I subtract 25 from both sides, I end up getting 1. I get 11. And then I'm going to carry that on up here. X plus 4 squared equals 11. And then if I take the square root of both sides, I get x plus 4 equals plus or minus square root of 11. And then x equals a -4 plus or minus square root of 11. Now, one of them is going to be negative, one's going to be positive. The negative we can disregard, because you cannot have a negative, oh, yes, you can have a negative. Sorry, I'm thinking of something else. Okay, so then those are your x-intercepts, so we should write them as that. Let's write them under here, because then I have to save room. for my y-intercepts. Plus or minus, comma 0. All right, so that answers your x-intercepts. Now let's do the exact same thing, but with the y-intercepts. Where for y-intercept, we're going to plug a 0 in for x. So it'd be 0 plus 4 squared, y minus 5 squared equals 36. That ends up being 16. And then once you subtract 16 from both sides, you get 20. Take the square root of both sides, you get plus or minus 20. And then y equals 5 plus or minus 20. All right, well, we know that simplifies into 2 root 5. And we also know a y-intercept is an ordered pair. So it'd be 5 plus or minus 2. No, it wouldn't. It would be 0, comma, 5 plus or minus 2, 2 radical 5. So there's your x and y-intercepts. Good job. All right, the next one, we are given the diameter, endpoints of the diameter. So I just want you to look at that real quick. We have negative 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 1 point. And then at 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, comma 1 is our other one. So the diameter reaches from here to here. Okay, some of the things we know about a diameter, and I'll just go ahead and make some kind of circle here like this, is that we know that half of the diameter is going to be the radius. Half of the diameter will equal the radius. So if we can find the diameter, then we're set. We can find out what the radius is. The other part that we need to know is the center point. And the center of 2 points, you can use the midpoint formula. So everything we talked about yesterday, we can apply in this problem. So let's start with the distance. The distance of these 2 points would be negative 1 minus 7 squared plus negative 7 minus 1 squared. And that ends up being negative 8, so that's 64 plus 64. And then what do you get? 8, 128. And then we'd have to find the square root of both sides. Or I'm sorry, the square root of that in simplified radical form. All right, so you get the 8 radical 2 as the distance, which again is also the diameter. And if you take half of that, the radius is going to be 4 radical 2. So we'll come back to that in a second. Now let's find the midpoint. The midpoint is the x's added together divided by 2 and the y's added together divided by 2. So this one's going to be 6 over 2. This one's going to be negative 6 over 2 for an answer of 3 comma negative 3. So that is the midpoint of those 2 points. Now, why that is a necessary thing? Because that's also going to be the center of our circle. Now we can figure out what the equation is. So x minus 3 squared plus y plus 3 squared equals r squared. Well, what is r squared? Let's do the math here. 4 times 4 is 16. Square root of 2 is 2. So we should put 32 as r squared. All right, this completes section 10.2. And yeah, that's it.